When Silent Hill 2 was released in 2001, it was immediately clear that this was not just another horror game. Gone were the apocalyptic cults, the overt monsters of the first game. In their place came a more intimate, surreal, and psychologically complex experience. Rather than fearing external forces, players were forced to look inward, to guilt, memory, denial, and identity. This shift in tone didn't happen in a vacuum. Behind the fog of Silent Hill 2 lies a deep well of cinematic influence, and none more prominent than David Lynch's 1997 film Lost Highway. While David Lynch's entire body of work casts a huge shadow over the entire series, Lost Highway in particular stands as a spiritual forebearer to Silent Hill 2. Both works deal with fractured identity, cynical guilt, psychological breakdowns, and the terrifying consequences of refusing to face the reality, the truth of what actually happened. In this essay, I'll explore how Lost Highway may have helped influence the narrative and themes and structure of Silent Hill 2, and why this connection is key to understanding the game's lasting power.
But first, let's start at the beginning. What is Lynchian horror? For those who don't know, David Lynch doesn't make traditional horror films. Lynchian horror is a surreal and unsettling form of psychological horror, my particular favorite. Characterized by a dream-like logic, eerie atmospheres, and a sense of dread that lingers beneath the surface of everyday life. It often blurs the line between reality and nightmare, using disjointed narratives, uncanny images, and distorted sound and visual designs to invoke deep emotional unease, rather than relying on the traditional Blumhouse jump scare and gore. Lynchian horror explores the depths of horror in the subconscious, identity, and the hidden darkness within us all. His films are nightmares wrapped in suburban smiles. His worlds are fragmented, eerie, and often terrifying because they don't make any sense. That same contrast, beauty on the surface and a horror underneath, is the core of Silent Hill. Like Lynch's work, these games don't just want to scare you. They want to disorient you. They want to make you feel uneased. They want you to question what is reality and force you to confront things you'd rather keep buried in your subconscious. Let's start with the most obvious influence, Twin Peaks. Konami's Team Silent has openly cited the show as inspiration, as you can see it everywhere. Twin Peaks and Silent Hill are both small forested towns hiding supernatural forces. Both have a protagonist. FBI agent Dale Cooper and Harry Mason are both outsiders unveiling a world of the town's hidden horrors. For example, Twin Peaks has the Red Room or the Black Lodge as many know it, versus Silent Hill has the Otherworld when things become rustic and decaying. Both are dreamlike spaces filled with symbols where time and logic don't make any sense. Silent Hill is what happens when video games embrace surreal emotional horror, the way only David Lynch can inspire, from severed ears to fog-covered towns, from psychological nightmares and to fractured identities. At the heart of both Lost Highway and Silent Hill 2 is a question of identity. In Lost Highway, Fred Mason, played by Bill Pullman, a saxophonist haunted by paranoia and dread, suddenly transforms into a completely different person named Pete Dayton midway through the film. This transformation isn't explained logically, it's just surreal with disturbing images. You see, Fred is unable to live with the reality of what he's done. He disassociates himself and becomes a completely different person. Likewise, in Silent Hill 2, James Sutherland enters a foggy town while receiving a letter from his dead wife. But as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that James is not simply seeking answers. He's fleeing from them. James, like Fred, is a man who cannot accept the truth of his actions. In both stories, the protagonist constructs a false identity to escape an unbearable guilt. This isn't just metaphorically similar, it's structural. Both narratives are built around an unreliable protagonist whose perceptions are distorted by denial, and we, the audience or the player, are drawn into their fragmented reality, seeking answers. What we see and experience through these protagonists is filtered through their psyche, or in Lynch's words, we are inside the head of a man in trouble. Lost Highway famously ends where it begins. with Fred trapped in a loop doomed to repeat his actions. This cyclical narrative structure is one of the film's most unsettling elements. It's not just that Fred is guilty, it's that he can't escape his guilt. He's stuck in an eternal return spiraling through the same emotional terrain. He's stuck in his own purgatory. Silent Hill 2 mirrors this structure as well. James' journey is not linear, but circular. He keeps encountering echoes of his past, versions of his wife, Maria's strange resemblance to Mary, the videotape in the hotel, until he's forced to confront the truth. The town of Silent Hill is more than a setting. It's a psychic landscape that blends James' emotional reality, just as the world of Lost Highway blends around Fred. And like Lynch's work, Silent Hill 2 operates on a dream logic. Things don't follow a conventional movie-like narrative with cause and effect. Characters appear, they disappear, locations shift without warning. The dialogue is odd, it comes off robotic. Some people would call it bad acting, but it's purposely done this way. The town behaves more like a subconscious mind than a real place. It reflects the inner turmoil of the protagonist. David Lynch's films often explore the connection between sexual desire, violence, and psychological repression. In Lost Highway, Fred's jealousy and sexual insecurity ultimately lead to the murder of his wife and the creation of a false identity to bury that truth. Silent Hill takes a similar approach. Many of the game's monsters have sexualized designs. The line figures are bound with straitjackets of flesh while wearing stiletto heels. The nurses are hypersexualized but grotesque. And Pyramid Head assaults Maria in disturbing ritualistic ways. These aren't arbitrary choices. They reflected James's twisted relationship with sexuality, shaped by his guilt over Mary's illness, her perceived rejection of him, and his own repressed desires. Maria, too, is a product of James's mind, an idolized, sexualized version of his wife crafted to soothe his guilt and validate his masculinity. But she's also found as a source of torment. She keeps dying, reappearing, and reminding James that his fantasy is fragile. Just as Fred tries to rewrite his narrative by becoming Pete and seducing Alice, James tries to replace Mary with Maria, and is repeatedly punished for it. Perhaps a clearer symbolic parallel between Lost Highway and Silent Hill 2 lies in the personifications of guilt. Both feature unnerving otherworldly figures who do not merely haunt the protagonist, they are the protagonist, externalized and made monstrous. In Lost Highway, the mystery man is a ghostly presence, pale, still, and deeply unsettling. He tells Fred, "We've met before, haven't we?" His presence suggests he exists beyond the constraints of time and space, as if rooted in Fred's own fractured psyche. He is the embodiment of the memory Fred has repressed, the truth he refuses to face. His blank stare and eerie calmness underscore his function. He doesn't need to chase Fred. Fred is already running from him. The mystery man is an unescapable knowledge of the truth, of murder, jealousy, and identity collapse. Similar to Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head is not simply a monster. He is James Sutherland's Punisher and Shadow Self, a towering, wordless executioner who stalks him throughout the fog-choked nightmare of Silent Hill. His appearances coincide with Maria's repeated deaths. Each one is a grotesque reenactment of the trauma James is trying to forget. Pyramid Head does not act randomly. He's a psychological mechanism designed to bring James back to the truth of what he did. He is the walking embodiment of guilt made manifest. And what unites these figures is their symbolic function. They aren't the antagonists in the traditional Hollywood landscape. They are the internal forces projected outward, tasked with a force of reckoning, of realization. Their horror does not come from their violence, but from their purpose to break through the denial, to expose the hidden memories, the truth, to compel the protagonist to knowledge what he cannot live with. In both cases, the horror is not of being hunted, but of being remembered.
I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore. I'm ready.
In conclusion, both stories are less interested in what happens than what is felt. Both abandon logic for emotion and structure for sensation.
Both tell a story of a man that cannot live with what he's done and would rather escape into madness than face himself. But in the end, escape is impossible. The loop continues. The road bends back around. The letter disappears. The videotape plays. And somewhere in the fog, a man walks alone, pursued not by monsters, but by memory, but by himself. Thank you for watching my video essay on how David Lynch has inspired Silent Hill. And I have to admit, I had just recently discovered David Lynch. I knew of him, but over the past couple of months, I've just become obsessed with his films. And I noticed when I was watching Lost Highway a couple months back that there were so many similarities to Silent Hill. I had to talk about it. So I thought I'd make this video and share it with you. I apologize for the delay in videos, but I really wanted to focus all my efforts into this. And I hope you found it educational and insightful. And it gave you maybe a little bit of a nudge to go check out Silent Hill if you haven't done so already, and maybe the work of David Lynch. It is absolutely fascinating. And again, if you like the video, please let me know. Put some comments down below. Like the video, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.
Holy and sleepy, two hearts entwined.